Hello, and welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
And Daniel, welcome back.
Well, thank you. It was a nice trip.
Yeah.
And
that was a genuine welcome back.
You're gonna, for our audio listeners, I'm apologizing ahead of time because this guy decided to pull the curtain back. And the next episode, when you listen to it, we're already talking about stuff that... Yeah, because we did that episode before this episode, and you pulled back that curtain, so I'm doing it again right now, just letting everybody know this way they don't get discombobulated. Yep. You are forewarned. There is stuff we're talking about there that it might confuse you.
Yeah, one of these days we're just going to have to do a how we film the podcast, what do we do, like give a behind the scenes episode. And then, what we could really do is we can call it a BTS episode, because that's what it stands for, behind the scenes, and see if we can get all those extra clicks for no reason.
No.
Yeah.
I am not clickbaiting.
No, that's not clickbaiting. It's just simply saying it's behind the scenes. But we don't want to write out the whole words behind the scenes. So BTS. Done.
No.
Problem solved.
Not happening. Not doing it. No way.
My wife might actually listen to this episode.
Do we want that to happen, though? Because you're going to get in trouble when you get home with your clickbait.
I didn't clickbait. She's told me multiple times that she's accidentally watched, some... Like she was like, wow, I was about to watch this collab that I thought, BTS and Avril Lavigne did. But then I realized it just stood for behind the scenes, and I watched, 45 minutes of Avril Lavigne going, where's the Korean guys? That was hilarious. I was like, okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, that reminds me of just the random stuff that you see, Japanese names of restaurants.
Uh-huh.
It's that's not what you think it's supposed to mean, but I could see that happening more often than not.
Yep. Well, let's get into today's episode. Yeah, but again, welcome back. That was a genuine welcome back. This is the first time I've seen you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. The last time we recorded and last time we had game night, which was a Wednesday, was last time we saw each other for... Yeah. What, a week and a half? Yeah. It's almost been 2 weeks. Come this Wednesday, it would have been 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, because then as soon as you got back from your trip...
You left.
I left. Literally within hours of each other. I think I left slightly before you got back.
You left on a Thursday, right?
I left on the Thursday, yes.
Yeah, the Thursday I got back. I got home about 6:37.
Yep,
You were already
5:30.
Yeah, you were already on the road.
Yep.
Because I was you texted me back that's nuts. Yeah. Because I sent the group a photo.
Well, I was driving to Deming. You were driving from El Paso, Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. That was what... Actually, when you left, you had already passed Deming. When we landed, you were already between Deming and Lordsburg, because we landed at 6 o'clock.
And I'll tell you one thing I wasn't doing. Speeding.
Yep.
That's right. Local lore drop randomly, just so everybody knows. Don't speed through Lordsburg.
Yeah, it's a big no-no. They're the sticklers for speed straps over there.
Yeah.
You'll go a mile over, they'll pull you over.
Yep. So we learned it.
Not us.
We haven't.
We known people.
My friend has.
Yeah. My cousin has.
Yep. We tell everybody don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, but we got an interesting episode for everybody today, with the G.A.M.E.R spiel in the Spiel de Jahres being announced just recently. We talked about it in the Board Game Brainstorm episode, and also. It's what we always do in the months of June and July. We always talk about games around this time for Brainstorm. This one you will pick because you're the Spiel de Jahres guy, and we're we haven't done this one. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah, and but you like it.
Yeah,
right?
You have a depth of games that you could pick because this award's been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
Mine has to be every 10 years at this point because it started in 2011, so there's 15 total right now.
That's it.
Yeah, so...
Your collection is a little smaller than mine.
Yes, thank God for that. But we are doing the Board Game Brainstorm of the Spiel de Jahres winner, Thurn and Taxis.
That's right.
That's what I heard it called several times while researching and trying to remember how this works, because it's been a little bit since we played it. I think it was 2020, 2021 when we did play it. Haven't played it since. We were talking about playing it on Board Game Arena before I left for my trip, but we just never got around to it because we were doing all the Johannes Goopy games.
Yep.
So, yeah. But that's fine. Watching the videos actually made it come to my mind pretty quickly. Just one run through, and I'm like,
There's
I
something
remember.
memorable about it, right?
How simple it is. It's basically you're playing cards in a route building. Think like a la Ticket to Ride, and you also do different stuff. It has little aspects of it, and it's more of a race than actually to trigger the end game. But there's still more points at the end of the game that can win it for you. But it's a race to whoever hits the 7th route or something like that, a 7 size route
or whatever.
But you always have to go 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, that kind of thing. Fantastic little game. Can't wait to get talking to it, but we have other things we have to talk about.
That's right. The real question is, what have you been doing outside of gaming? I know you said your shirt might be a little bit of a spoiler here.
Yeah, so if you don't see it on the audio side of things, go check out our YouTube. You'll by one way or another, you'll see what shirt I'm actually wearing because of the thumbnail. You don't have to click on the YouTube video if you just want to see what I'm talking about. But you can go ahead and flip the coin to see who's going to talk first.
Oh, okay. Since when do we do that? All right. I guess I'll talk first. I'll tell you what.
Just to have some fun, because we both actually have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we both went on trips. Mine was a little less distant than yours, but mine was just...
Mine was probably more
really
hot,
fun.
Surprisingly.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Oh, yes, it was, and I'll tell you here in a little bit.
I very much would be surprised. But anyway, so we went to Phoenix, Arizona,
which was 107 degrees. It's fine.
109 was what it hit at one point. But at that point, it didn't matter. It's like, what's 2 degrees? No, so we actually spent some time in Tucson, Arizona, and then up to Phoenix for a day. Mm-hmm. We went mainly to visit my brother. I also traded in some games while I was at it. So I was like, all right, let's go trade in some stuff.
Only you would find a trick-taking game about magic.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I'm like, is that a magic trick-taking game?
Yeah, trick-taking game. I don't know. It's rated pretty low. So, but I don't care.
Only you would find a magic trick-taking game.
Yep. Exactly. No, I'm curious about it, so we'll see. But anyway, again, this isn't about gaming.
Yeah.
Even though I did some gaming, I stopped at some stores, got some games I wanted. Mm-hmm. I went to Phoenix, and we went for 2 main reasons, other than the Bookmans.
And your brother.
And my brother, of course, yeah. My brother lives in Tucson, so I went and visited him quite a bit. And a friend of ours, we had some Korean barbecue, so that was always fun.
You hung out with them again, huh?
Yep. A good friend of mine, who will remain unnamed at the moment, for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I don't know. Probably I shouldn't say his name without his permission first. But either way.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, people. Let that be a lesson to everybody. Anyway, Phoenix, Arizona. We went up there. We made a day trip of it because we were going to go to a concert. But beforehand, we did a couple of things. Amidst our running around and seeing a few different places, we went to the Museum of Musical Instruments.
Nice.
Musical Instrument Museum, which is pretty awesome. This music instrument museum is one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. I'm a big music fan. Of course, I was going to like it. But they were having a little, showcase. They were showing off, kind of like the history of soul music. And they brought in a performer. I think his name is Michael Robinson. Mm-hmm. I want to give him a shout out. Caribbean soul musician. And he was just singing. Incredible singer. Oh my goodness.
Did he play the hand drum thing?
No, he didn't play any music. He had backtracks for everything, but he was getting people dancing. It was having fun. It was just a small little venue. It was in the corner of the museum. It kind of comes to this little small part. And we started hearing it. We're and me and my wife were just talking about it. We love this kind of music. We like Caribbean music a lot, reggae, all sorts of different Hawaiian music. We just dig all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so when we were listening to him sing, he was so good. So good. So I got to give him props for that. But the Music Instrument Museum has over 10,000 different music instruments. It has some of the first, some of the more well-known ones. It has different rooms that had different areas of the world. And it had based on the continent, they would have a different room, and they would have different countries highlighted. And it had this walking headphone device thing where you walk up to the TV and there's a little sensor near the sign, and it'll play 2 or 3 looping clips, and you can hear it whichever one proximity you're closest to. And I thought that was a really clever way to do that. Instead of having it blaring and people not being able to hear it or getting a bunch of directional speakers, just give them a little device that they could do it, right? And that's included with the ticket, so it was fantastic. That's cool. And it wasn't even that expensive. It was $20 for an adult, right? And then teenagers 15. not even that expensive. Right.
I was gonna say, did you have to pay full price for your son?
No, normally I do. But no, teenagers were like $15. So
don't you miss the days you can order off the kids menu?
Man, I very much miss that. But like, all of the different areas were cool. They had beautiful music instruments. They had giant like showcasings. They had different like they even showed like how some of the cultures built the instruments, whether it was like out of like junk from a landfill or whether it's like a year work of handcrafting like a single bell. Then they even had like this whole room where like the kids could like play music and do stuff. They had like a theremin and a gong and a bunch of different drums and a piano and all sorts of great stuff.
Okay.
There's even like player pianos where you could like buy a token at the gift shop and then put it in there and it would play you music depending on what.
Always like those.
Up. Yeah, I love it. They had a whole room of like automated machines talking about like music boxes and big old like one like box band things that are like the size of a room, you know. And then of course they had another room that highlighted a bunch of different musicians and some of the things from them, like not really instruments but more like costume and stuff. They had like Johnny Cash, Maroon 5, Taylor Swift, but the one I was really excited about, they had Bella Fleck, which is he's a Grammy Award winning banjo player, and I'm a big fan of Bella Fleck. He's awesome. And it had one of his electric guitars that has like these. It looks like a.
You mean his electric banjo?
It is electric banjo, but it's shaped like an electric guitar. It has like this cool thing around the banjo itself that gives it like the two little like horns from the top, like a guitar would have. It was so cool. I enjoyed it a lot with that museum. But then, of course, that was just a warm up to get ready for some good music. By the way, we stopped at a wonderful restaurant there called Culinary Dropout. We discovered it in Dallas.
Yeah. That's why I'm laughing.
November. Yep, because oh man, that food was great. But the thing is, like, we went up and they always have like complimentary valet parking. So we're like, okay. They're like, can we park? And they're like, no, you can't. You just gotta do the valet. I'm like, oh, yeah, fine, whatever. And we walk in, 108-degree weather at the time, and they're like, would you like to sit inside or outside? I'm like, is this really an option? That, like, granted, they had misters and stuff on the outside, and people seem comfortable enough, but still, is that really an option? Actually, no, at first I asked, they're like, would you like to sit outside? I'm like, no. What? And they're like, no, we prefer inside, please. And she was like, oh, okay. And she seemed kind of annoyed at that answer. I'm like, what? Like, it's 110 out. Like, good lord. Anyway,
still somewhere hotter.
There's the humidity up in here probably, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. It was actually slightly humid in Phoenix, like more than it was anywhere around here. No, I know, probably nothing compared to that, but still.
I went to the freaking jungle, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably didn't breathe at all, but... Mr. One-upmanship here. Alright, but did your jungle have Ed Sheeran? I don't think so. No, but I'm sure there's plenty of good performances on the boat.
Oh, there's some amazing stuff over there. I'll explain it here in a little bit.
So I went and saw Ed Sheeran live, which I'm a big fan of.
I enjoy Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I think his music is fantastic. And I knew that he was going to have a good show because he's just a fantastic one-person performer. He had 3 opening acts. One band was called like Amble. One was like right as soon as we showed up, they were already playing. I don't remember their name, so forgive that. And one was like Mark Amber or something like that. And he was actually pretty good. Amble was okay, like they weren't bad, but the guy who opened up for him last, he had a very unique kind of voice. It was kind of like almost SpongeBob-y, but in a good way. Like it was kind of like not squeaky. I don't know. He definitely put full voice into his singing, you know. But it was good. Like and of course Ed Sheeran came on, and it was an absolute banger of a show. Like lots of.
Did your daughter enjoy it? Because I know she's a metalhead or a rockhead right now.
She did. Even my son did, and
really?
He's like all into techno
he's
right
techno,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, but like the fact that he was using like the whole premise of this tour is him using a loop tool, and a looper is like this cool tool where he controls everything with his feet, you know. And he records part of it, and then as soon as he pushes stop, it starts looping that same thing, and he can add more to it, more control. Mm-hmm. And there's even like one part where
he can even make his own backing musicians with his own voice in the background.
Exactly. Like he would do lots of harmonies, he would do lots of like overtracks, he would bang on his guitar like a drum, you know, having like that. The vast majority of the songs were that, you know. He had a band come out for a couple of the songs and whatnot, but it was a really fantastic show.
Would you tell me he decided to do his own one-man band show?
Yeah, pretty much. And it was like a 2.5 hour long concert, and he didn't repeat, and he even had a request section where like you could like scan a QR code and say, hey, during the show, if there's any songs you want to request, the top votes will
get it.
We'll get. And
That's
he
cool.
had like a whole little section of like 4 or 5 songs where he just did requests, and it was like, that's what a cool idea, you know, like because I guess he doesn't need to have the whole band trained on his entire discography. It's just him, so why can't he do his own
Exactly.
song? And so yeah, it was really incredible. I liked it a lot. Great performances. Long drive back. But you know,
was it though? Because didn't you stay in Tucson afterwards?
We stayed in Tucson before and after.
Yeah.
And we stayed at a really weird hotel. It's a new hotel.
What else is new with you?
No,
when it comes to you and
wife-
Tucson and weird hotels.
That's true. I tend to find some ones that are sketchy.
Oh
This
yeah,
one-
the
this one
stink bugs would prove
I
you
know,
right.
I know, but this one was a lovely hotel. I got to give it like props. Like really nice people working there. Really nice hotel itself. It's called the Eddie Hotel. And it's based off of Eddie's Bread, which I guess is like a bakery from rural Montana that has like this really iconic sign on the side of a building.
Cool.
And for some reason, that hotel is an homage to this. And despite all of my best efforts, I couldn't figure out why. Like, at all, why it was. But it was a lovely place, and it was really, really quite nice. I just gotta give that a shout out. And yeah, good times all around. So, came back yesterday, rested up, lovely trip.
Yeah, for me, my trip was lovely as all can be. My wife and I decided, and I mentioned it on the podcast beforehand, we went on a Disney cruise out of Fort Lauderdale down to the Yucatan Peninsula area, where I have a fun fact about that I just found out, and the Bahamas. So those are the 2 main stops we hit. Mm-hmm. But I love cruises. My wife enjoys them too. It's a good combination of go do stuff, rest. Go do stuff, rest. Mm-hmm. And you can do stuff on the ship, but you're not feeling rush. You're not feeling anything. There's a couple of parts in here where we did feel rush, and I'll explain here in a little bit. But we got into a cruise. We started in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We flew out the night before, stayed the night on points from my wife, who travels for her job. Mm-hmm. So she built some Hilton points, which gave us a shuttle to the port. I mean, we literally could have walked to the port. We just had to go across the street. It was not that far from us. But the shuttle took us into a better area to get into it, because we'd have to go through the front and around all these different things just to get into the boarding aspect. The bus just took us to it. It was actually a pretty simple process, too. We checked in. We checked at the bus stop. They get our room numbers. We just leave our bags in our room with the tags. They'll go pick them up and put them on the boat for us. Mm-hmm. So we just carry what's important, like in our backpacks, or take a little bag that you want to keep with you. But yeah, no, it was fantastic just getting on there. It was quick, too. I really did enjoy that one. But it was fantastic. We hit some great food. Our service was a little slow on the ship itself when it comes, and I was explaining to you earlier, I have a food allergy. Just avocados. It's pretty simple. I could just avoid stuff with avocados, but we have to let them know. This way they can cook my meal separately. Yep. Don't have to worry about it. They really didn't have much of avocado stuff on the ship. But my friend that was with us has an egg and milk allergy, lactose allergy. So it's not that she's lactose intolerant. It's legitimately an allergy. Yeah. And so they had to make her food quite differently than everybody else's and separately. Yeah. But to get through that, they made her order the night before. They gave her the menu, and here's what you can order. This is the specialty menu here. Mm-hmm. So it shouldn't have taken that long. Out of that was my only gripe, is that service was slow. And it wasn't anything to do with our waiter and stuff like that. It's just like, why is it taking so long to get our food? It's not the waiter or the guest or the assistant waiter who get us our waters and stuff like that. It's just, why is it taking us this long to get our food done? Mm-hmm. Her food should have been made. We're always at the same time. This is when we're supposed to go down for our meal. So her food should be somewhat ready. Yeah. Other than that, great. Room service was another big thing, too. One time we ordered room service at like 9:30, and yes, it was the last night while we were packing our bags and stuff like that. Me and my buddy went back to our rooms to pack up while the girls went to a show on the ship. And so, because it got delayed because of something with the stage, and we're like, well, we'll go take care of the packing, get the things out, because we had to get the bags out by 10 for them to take it down for us to the buses. Sure. So that was a bit of an issue. Other than that, it was a fantastic cruise. The first stop we hit was Cozumel, Mexico, and this is why I was joking with you. It wasn't that hot. Here's the temperature. It was 92 degrees at 9 a.m. when we hit our first stop.
Yeah.
with 95% humidity.
Yeah, that's unpleasant.
Yeah, I was sweating while I walked to the bus, and
Yeah.
it wasn't that far. And then we had to do a whole different thing, like in the shops and stuff like that. But the first thing we hit was a Mayan ruins, and I'm glad we hit that at 9 o'clock in the morning, because the guy said it was supposed to be like 96, 97, 98 degrees with that the humidity at 95 the entire time. And I'm like, oh my God, that would be rough. If I was hitting this at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at 98 degrees and 95% humidity,
Yeah.
I'd be dead.
Yeah.
I was drinking a lot of water.
You wouldn't have made it back.
I wouldn't have made it back. But we went to a Mayan ruins, which actually turned out to be really, really cool. Our tour guide was amazing on this one. And this Mayan ruin, it was a marriage temple that the Mayans would send their... what is the word I'm looking for here? Where they're forced to marry someone. I can't think of what it's called now. Arranged marriage. They would send them down to this temple. They would walk there together, get to know each other, send them to this island, because Cozumel is an island off the Yucatan Peninsula. Mm-hmm. And they would go to this island, and they would have a very romantic, not romantic, but a massive marriage ceremony, because it's always on the full moon cycle. So they would. This is the only times they would do it, was the full moon cycle. And so on that day, on the full moon and stuff like that, they would marry him. And the big part of it, too, with that marriage ceremony is that it's all about dealing with women in the life cycle. So they treated this island, because it's surrounded by water, like a birth in a sense, a rise in female. It's always at the full moon, which is a 28-day cycle. They were built all around these numbers, which is really neat getting this explained to us. And so big part of it, too, is that they couldn't leave the island until the girl got pregnant. Or a year or something like that. But it all has to deal with the gestation and stuff like that. Because it was a big, important thing in their concept. And it's surrounded by water, just like a baby in the womb and stuff like that. And so it was really neat hearing the story about all this, and this guy, the tour guide, explaining to it. And some of the pictures really cool, showing us the different ruins, the story about this ruin. Some guy found it back in the day and was like, oh, I'm not telling the government about it. Started excavating, did a lot of damage, and they're trying to restore it from that damage and stuff like that. Used dynamite to blow up buildings, so they're trying to fix all those and restore it that way. It took them about 20 years, so this ruin never really opened until 1980, and we didn't even get to see the full facilities. It was just an hour-and-a-half tour here, and this is why I'm talking about it was rushed. We were doing 3 different things, and we basically had an hour to an hour and a half for each thing, so we only had about 5 to 6 hours. We only even had a little bit of shopping, too, because we had to be back on the boat by 5 o'clock because the next day is going to be a sea day. So we had to be at sea all day. So they needed to leave at 5 for us to make our next destination. So the ruins were really cool. For me, personally, that is something very important for me because I was a history major when I was going to college before I transferred into like the medical field stuff. But I really love history and going through that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to pray at the ruins because we didn't have time. Yeah. It was literally an hour and a half there at the ruins, and it was a walk the entire time. There was no sitting and having lunch or anything like that. It was like, we're doing this, then we're going to go over here. We're going to do that, and then we're going to go over here, and then once you're done with that, we're going to go back. And so that was the main thing, but the ruins were amazing. It was so much fun. After the ruins, we went to a chocolate factory. I think it's called the Mayan Chocolate Factory or something like that. Really neat. They taught us the history of chocolate for the Mayans and stuff like that. And they kept telling us this thing that the Mayans used to drink, which was a really better drink. And until the Spanish came over and added milk and sugar to it, this was a very bitter drink. What they would do is grind the coffee with a chili and one other thing, and then mix it all together, and then the priest would drink it, and it would come out really red, and it looked like blood running down their cheeks and stuff like that. And so it was really interesting, and I was like, man, I wish that was my one thing, is I wish they offered that drink. I know it's bitter, and people are not going to like it, but just to let me have a sip of what the Mayans used to drink. It's chocolate nibs, this Mexican chili thing, and one other thing. And it was like, wow, I really want to try it. And you can make it here if we ever got the ability to. I just got to remember what the chili is. But yeah, no, it sounded really cool. But the chocolate was really good. They actually give you a sample of like how the Mayans did it with the chunkiness of the nibs and the chocolate nips and the other stuff. And then also the adding of the sugar and the honey and all that into there. It was really good. A nice little taste of that. And we bought some chocolate. I have some in the other room. My wife was really happy about that. I actually have some Mexican hot chocolate. I used to love champurrado growing up, and now I have some made from there that I'll get to have during the winter, just a little bit here and there. So I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, at the last end of it, we went to, I got to get the name here, Kuzama Beach, which is a nice little beach. What is interesting is where we park, you got to go over this massive bridge. And there's this spot on there where you just see out in the jungle. And I've never really been to a jungle environment before, and it was hot. But just seeing how thick the jungle is, that we have to do this bridge over the jungle to get to the beach, was amazing. And getting to the beach, it was a nice beach, warm water. It was warmer water than the Bahamas, which was shocking. But yeah, it was great. Had a blast in Cozumel. The Mayan ruins is something personally for me. We did actually get some gaming on the ship as well when we had sea days. But what that was funny about that was I couldn't teach them any new games. So I was going to play the crew Mission Deep Sea. But they were also drinking wine and alcohol in the room. So I'm like, I'm not teaching any new games to people who are not going to be able to concentrate on what's going on. But we did get to do some stuff on the sea days. I also was able to go to the movies because they had a movie there. We went and saw the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie on the ship. They have a movie theater on the ship.
Yep.
Did some theater shows. They had Hercules on stage as well as Frozen. That's the one we missed because we went back to the room because it was delayed. It's like, we got to get these out of 10. So me and my buddy and his son went back to the room. The son played video games while we did the packing. And the girls went and saw Frozen on stage, which was awesome. Yeah. Seeing the movie on theaters was in the theater there was great. We bought a popcorn bucket that we can actually use in the parks as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was $2 refills the entire rest of the trip once that bucket was paid, and it was like $10 for the bucket.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so I was like,
way cheaper than the parks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, well, and it's like $2 a refill every time you get it refilled. And in the parks, using that bucket is like $2 or $3 to refill in the parks. Yeah. So we got that. We also got a really cool sipper cup that my wife wanted. Mm-hmm. It's a Haunted Mansion organ. Yeah, it was just really cool. Did some bar hopping on the ship. There was like 3 bar hops there. I actually got to watch the Stanley Cup Finals because it's a Disney cruise and they own ABC. So I didn't miss a single game of the entire Stanley Cup Finals, which was great. And then finally we went to the Bahamas on their last day, which was their private island. It's called Castaway Cay. I got to remember that because it's spelled C-A-Y, and I keep wanting to pronounce it as Castaway Cay, but it's Key. And I'm like, why do you do this to me, English? You're pronounced one way, and it's spelled a different way, and it confuses me. But yeah, Castaway Cay was fantastic. Some beautiful beaches. Did some swimming. Had some jerk chicken, which was delicious, by the way. Oh, man. I wish it was a little spicier like the last jerk chicken that we had when we went on the Carnival cruise. But yeah, no, we had a blast on the beach. We did a lot of swimming. Took some decent photos. I did forget to mention one major thing because it was just a beach day there. After Cozumel, we had Pirates Night. And I cross-dressed that night. You saw the photo of it. I'll probably throw it up in our Discord and possibly maybe on our Instagram in a reel or something like that, or a story. But me and my wife dressed up as the characters Pintel and Regretti from Pirates of the Caribbean when they're playing decoys at the back end of the first movie, where I am in a yellow dress with a sunflower hat, daisy hat or something like that, and our parasols on the ships, and man, were we a hit with the crowd. People just loved us. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some people that were very confused, especially we could tell the different generations who grew up with pirates and not. Because the older audience were like looking at us weird, like, oh, these people are dressed. And one person called us a winches because we were dressed in dresses. But I'm like, my wife's got a beard and I got a beard. How are we winches? I mean, come on, man. And then the younger kids were like confused, and some girls were like, you know what? To be you, dude, that's a pretty dress. And I'm like, thank you. And so when we get up onto the actual ship and stuff like that, the older generation that were in our generation of millennials and stuff like that were like, oh my God, you guys have the best costume. Because we had the parasols out and everything. Yep. And they're like, we need to find you guys a rowboat. I took so many pictures with strangers. I was not expecting that on that cruise. Everybody wanted to take a picture. The crew were loving it. They were laughing. One of the activities directors actually came up to us and took a picture with us because she thought it was amazing.
That's awesome.
Because my wife had a little doily and I had that little sun hat, but that was too small for my head. Yep. So you've seen the picture. It's like really, really tiny. Yeah, it was a blast. So we had a great time. The Castaway Cay was nice. Cozumel was amazing. The Pirate Night was just, it was a blast. And the end of Pirate Night, we had fireworks. And the Captain Jack character actually pointed at us when he was doing the stage on there. So yeah, we had a blast. We actually took a picture with someone who was dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow.
Nice.
It was a good time. It was fun, and hence the shirt. A little surprise on that one. This shirt was a surprise thing. So have you ever seen like the TikToks or the Reels or stuff like that, where family gatherings try to get the husbands all to wear the same shirt when they go to those things? That's what this was. It was a whole group chat trying to, all the wives were putting it together to get all the husbands into this shirt, and the sons and stuff like that. All the boys were in this shirt. And so I was like, I like the shirt. I'm fine with the shirt. It looks nice. It's cool. It's very thin, so it's a nice breathy shirt. It was perfect for the cruise. And it was just a blast watching everybody just looking around at each other in this shirt. And I'm like, I knew about it ahead of time. I just knew how to keep a secret. Because they were like, would you guys want to do this if we want to? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it if they come in my size. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, came in my size, no problem. This went all the way up to 7X. I was like, good Lord.
Yep, they made sure of it.
But yeah, I had a fantastic time on our Disney cruise. So much so, we've already semi-booked our next cruise in 2 years.
That was fast.
Ooh. I didn't have a choice in the matter, but I'm okay with it.
You never do.
Because they promised me that it's more than likely going to be an Alaskan cruise again on a Disney Wish, I believe that's what it's called. And I told the wife, if we're doing that, because they port out of Vancouver, we're taking 2 extra days and going to Vancouver, because I've always wanted to visit Vancouver.
Yep.
And I want to stamp in my passport.
Of course. Of course. Might as well. All right, cool. Shall we get into today's episode?
Yeah, we had some fun on our trip, so let's get into the actual work that we're supposed to be talking about. The actual gaming.
The actual gaming. Here we go. We're breaking down Thurn and Taxis.
Yeah.
Or Taxis, or however you pronounce it.
However you pronounce it. I've heard Thurn and Taxis the most when I was watching videos just to get a refresher. Rados, there was a couple other people that I just wanted to see. Like, there was no down and dirty video that I watched like when we're trying to learn games for our feast of Board Game Arena kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, that's a 5-minute video. There was none of that here.
No.
But this is a dry, dusty Euro like you wouldn't believe.
Yes.
This is about the classic German postal service.
Yep. Yeah. And basically, they're just trying to build routes around the different regions of Germany. This game
in Poland, I believe.
Yeah, and Poland. Yeah, it's technically a route building game. And I say technically because really all you're just trying to do is put cards in a row that are adjacent to each other geographically on the map. Once you get once you cash in one of those routes, you start by getting like the third, and then the fourth, fifth, and sixth. And what that means is how many cards you have in that row. And whether you have like 7 or 8, if you haven't gotten your first one yet, you go 3, right?
Yeah.
And then once you get a certain number in each region, then you gain like the chips, and they decrease in value as you gain the majority, like that you've gotten your buildings in all of those different cities.
If you get the different colored regions. That's the other thing too is that you can skip claiming your third route and try to go longer. You always have to go 3 no matter what first.
Yes.
But if you go say 5 first, then when you claim your 3, you also take a bonus chip as well.
Yeah.
Depending, it's like a +2 or something like that.
Exactly. Now, it's route building in a way, but not like I said, not technically, right?
Yeah.
And also, here's the thing: you don't block anybody else. It's just whoever gets to the points first, right? It's an incredibly pleasantly simple game, but what makes it really neat is that you're going to be drawing one card, and you're going to be playing one card for sure on your turn, but then you use an ability, which is 4 abilities. There's either draw a second card, play a second card, or refresh the market row and then get rid of all of them and see if you can find something better. And then there's one other where it's like, I think like you just automatically add 2 to your round or something like that.
Yeah. That's 4 abilities. It's really neat. What also I like about it too, it's a little push your luck aspect of it too. A little bit. Because if you do not play a card on your turn, you wipe your entire tableau.
Right.
Which could be
so you have to play a card.
Yeah.
But like if that card doesn't work, because the way the route works is that you have to be able to put it on either the left or right side of your row, and they have to be geographically adjacent to whatever cards are in that section. So if I have like Berlin on one side, which is the only German city I know of off the top of my head, And on that side, I have to go to any adjacent regions next to that.
So there's like 3 or 4 from I remember the board that is connected, and if you don't play any of those, you do play a card, you lose all your cards and you have to start over.
Yep. So there's a fun little press your luck involved with it.
Yeah.
It's nifty.
I really do enjoy it. This is one of the games we talked about when we said if I could take something from another person's collection,
yes,
this was one of the games that was on my list. I would take it from you because I think it's fantastic.
It's so hard to find here in the U.S.
And it was brought to the U.S. by Rio Grande Games.
Right, but like once.
Yeah, like back in the 06 or 07, somewhere.
Yeah, I want to say like 20-something years ago is when it finally won the Spiel de Jahres, and it got brought over here, and they didn't change anything about it. It was still like the German title. It was still the German map, which, people in the United States don't know anything about.
If anything needs an Awakens Realm.
Oh, man. Yeah. Honestly, like that's a great one for the Awakened Realms. Yeah, seriously. But with that being said, we're going to give you 5 different recommendations each. There might be some crossover. We don't.
I've not seen his list.
Yep. I haven't seen his.
By the way, he finished his list about 20 minutes before this episode because he was struggling.
Yeah,
this was a very hard list.
There was one specifically because it's as simple as it is. It's fairly unique.
Yeah, right? Very much so.
Like it's surprisingly unique.
And I told you when I had to make this list, I just went with the fact that it's a route building game with a unique mechanism to it. And there is a game that people always reference to it. I'm not going to say the name of it. I think I mentioned it at the top of the list, or at the top of the podcast. But it might be on your list. I did not put it on my list for.
It's not on mine either. So let's go ahead and tell
yeah, it's Ticket to Ride. Right? Yeah, because I wanted to try to do it without Ticket to Ride. Because everybody knows Ticket to Ride. It's the quintessential route building game out there.
Get some cards, build a route. Yeah, that's what it is. But no, we want to highlight other games.
Yeah, other games. I had a total of 8 games, including Ticket to Ride. There's 2 others that didn't make my list, but I put it here to talk about just quickly at the back end of the podcast that I thought would work on this list, but that just didn't fall into the categories the way I like it, or because, like I said, I just went with route building with unique mechanisms.
Yes.
The one of them is that the route building is such a slight thing in that's just the game. So,
I was kind of the same way too. Yeah.
Because it's such a hard game to compare.
By any means, if you like any of these 10 games that we're about to give you recommendations for, and you haven't played Thurn and Taxis, it's free on Board Game Arena, so go try it out. Or just find somebody who has it and give it a shot because I think you might be surprised.
It won the Spiel de Jahres for a reason.
Yes, it did. Yeah. Even though it's like so well unknown here. All right, let's start with game immersion. I'll be starting us off. So game immersion. There's not much game immersion in this game. I mean, it's German postal system.
You feel clever, but that's about it.
The best thing that I can describe this game as, like right now we're having a resurgence of cozy games. This, I feel like is a cozy game.
It's much cozier than like Tokaido.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like this, like there's nothing that you could do that really affects me too much. Like, yeah, you might get points before me or whatever, but I'm still doing my thing. I'm doing whatever I need to. And it's just chill. It's kind of learning the German landscape, all that stuff. And I wanted a game, and this is also a Spiel de Jahres winner from a few years, I think, before or after. It was fairly around that time. And it's one of those games where it's like, yeah, like, I technically affect you because I'm going over areas and stuff.
Yeah.
But really, all this game is, you play one card and you put down 3 buildings on a big generated map, trying to score points in different ways. This is Kingdom Builder from Donald X. Vaccarino.
Oh, I knew this was going to be on your list.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, though. Because it is. Like, you're trying to gain routes, kind of, but not really.
But for game immersion?
Yeah, because it's about as, like...
Is the game fun to lose? No.
No, it's not. You just don't like it. I get that. But, like, there's a lot of people who do enjoy it for that very reason. It's not an action-packed moment. You're not going to have a memorable moment where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I pulled this off. No, there's not that.
Speaking of dry, dusty hero.
It's a dry, dusty hero. But Kingdom Builder, it's just another one of those cozy games. There's not very much player interaction. You're just doing your thing. You're like, all right, I draw a card. It tells me what region I can build in. I build 3 buildings in that style of landscape. I guess not really regions, but landscape. It has to be adjacent to what you got. You have adjacency in this one. You're building next to it. And yeah, I mean, I can't describe it better than that. I think game immersion makes a lot of sense for Kingdom Builder.
And so I wanted to mention about Thurn and Taxis. what's interesting about this one, if you like Puerto Rico, I believe it is the same designer, and that's what I'm trying to check right now. It is Andreas Seafarth and his maybe his wife, daughter, I don't know, Karen Seafarth are the designers. So I just thought that was an interesting twist on it. Don't get me wrong, I didn't put Puerto Rico on this list.
No, those are very different games.
Very different games, but I thought that was interesting for people who are like, you only know him for Puerto Rico. This is the other game that he has done. I think he did it before Puerto Rico.
Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, but my game immersion pick here is a dry, dusty Euro per se, but this game is actually fun to lose. It does have those memorable moments that we were talking about, and it has a lot more player interaction than Thurn and Taxis does. This is in a Waken's Realm game, and I forgot to write my designers and stuff like that on this list, so I'm disappointed in myself. But the game in question is Smartphone Inc. from Arcane Wonders, not Awaken Realms. I don't know why that popped in my head. But it's a fun networking game where you're spreading out from different areas of your board. It's not really play your cards, but you're trying to build the right kind of phone, spread into different markets. You're trying to... actually feels really good at a higher player count because we've only played Smartphone Inc. and this one at 3 players. I have finally played Smartphone Inc. at a higher player count, 4. But I've heard really good things about it at a higher player count. It does lead to those memorable moments when I was like, don't you come over in my country. You stay over there. You go back to the Americas. That's all you. Stay away from my European market. This is mine. Go away. I loved everything about this game. I think it's another one that is not much of a looker. It's cubes and some cards, an interesting mechanism where you're putting 2 tablets together, and whatever stuff is shown is the resources that you're getting, and you're either using it to spread into the markets, you're using it to get resources to build your phones, to make your phone a 4G or a 5G, have Wi-Fi, have Bluetooth, have a great camera on it, just to read the market and sell and stuff like that. But you're also spreading from your starting market. It's usually like South America, Africa, and like Australia or something like that. And you're trying to spread your cell phones into different markets, trying to encroach into Europe, trying to encroach into North America, that kind of stuff. Because you get into those markets, you're going to make more resources, you're going to make more money, that kind of thing. Again, this is a bit of a stretch, but this one is pretty close, and that's why I put it in the game immersion, because it leads you to all those memorable moments. It is a fun game. So for me, Smartphone Inc.
Cool. Next category is going to be art and production, the A in our G.A.M.E.R.
All right, and art and production means the art, the pieces and components, and the graphic design. This one was a little tough for me, so I went ahead and decided on another Rio Grande's game here. Again, I forgot to put the designers on here. This is bad on me. I'm pretty good about that. But I also did this list like right after I got back from the cruise, so I'm a little discombobulated at the moment. Yeah. So this one is Underwater Cities.
Vladimir Suchi?
Vladimir Suchi, yep.
CGE?
One of the Vladimirs. CG. Oh, no, it's Delicious Games, and it was CGE. You're right, not Rio Grande. Well, actually, Rio Grande was the one that brought it over originally through CGE. But Delicious Games owns the right to it. That's where you're going to see a lot of the expansions coming from nowadays. But it has some great components. You got these little cool domes. If you get the upgraded components, it's really nice. But out of the box, you get your CGE cubes that you'll get in every CGE game. The little, well, no, it's the cube ones.
Lozenges?
Well, it gives you the lozenges too. Yeah,
those are the ones I don't know.
Yeah, so it'll give you those. And all this is route building. You're trying to connect one corner of your board all the way to your other 3 corners, especially trying to get to the very last corner because that's going to give you your most points, but you're also trying to add to the center. It has a really cool worker placement mechanism where if you're playing a card in this area, you're going to get those abilities. You're going to get bonus abilities if you play it in the right area. You're also trying to get bonuses as you're playing cards or trying to build out your network. So you're building tunnels, you're building your habitation things. It's all about building the city underneath the water. And I have a blast every time we play it. It has an issue. One main issue for it is the fact that it just overstays its welcome sometimes. I haven't played it with any of the expansions. I do enjoy every time we've played it, but it just goes a little long. It's on the other side of heavy that we like, but it is playable. I'm more than happy to play it when Damn It Dawn brings it out. I always have a good time when we play this one, but it is well produced. It's a fantastic looking game. And when you're done, you're looking at your city or what you built, and you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. And that's where you get it from the arts and production part of it.
So yeah, art and production, pieces, components, graphic design. As always, I try to aim for about as close as I can, like art and production stuff.
I always try to go more.
I know you do. But that's like a whole world that you go above, which makes sense, I guess, but like if you like the art on this, then you're okay with not amazing art. And it's not that it's bad art. Thurn and Taxis has plenty of good art in it. It's just it's fairly mundane for what it is. It's, the geographical regions of the German map is like pastel colors, and they kind of have like a general tone to the style, and it fits the tone. It works. It's kind of like this ancient, like old look to it. So this game uses a German map, and it looks kind of old too. And arguably, you hate the art too. This is Power Grid from Freeman Freeze.
This I knew was on your list. I didn't think it was going to be an art production.
Because it is. It really is art and production. I mean, it's because I admit it's not the prettiest of games. And one of the things that I think that, like, if they ever made Power Grid in like a fantasy style, and they brought it to like mass markets like here in the US, I think it would do incredibly well. And I think the same with Thurn and Taxis. I think it would do so much better. Like, not saying it isn't doing well, right? It's just the average person on the street isn't going to hear of Power Grid or Thurn and Taxis, right? Boy, they have heard of like Azul, and they have heard of a Monopoly, and they have heard of like different ones, know. And I don't think it'll ever reach that mass market status because of the art and production, to be honest. So, there you go. Power Grid, that's my art and production.
I knew this was going to be on your list, because, honestly, that is a route-building game, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
it is. It is a route-building game. And it looks about the same with the German map.
It does. It is bad. It is bad.
But that makes me think that they could have Thurn and Taxis for the U.S.
Honestly, I was looking at the fact that...
I would love that.
Yeah, the whatchamacallit is just about to come back into print. Hacienda from Pandasaurus. We just got the press release for that. So it's like, why can't Pandasaurus do the same thing for Thurns and Taxis? If you don't want to do the German Postal Service, put a different theme on it. Yeah. It's not going to hurt it by changing the theme.
No,
by hitting
the theme isn't. That's not the reason people were buying this game. They bought it because it's a Spiel winner and it's a darn good game.
All right, so we're moving on to meaningful choice. What we're talking about that is the impact on other player strategy, depth of strategy, tactics, or skill, and do arbitrary choices or AP make an impact on the game. And for me, this was the first one that I could put on the list because it does have that route building with a unique mechanism. And the route building isn't a very important part of this game. And so this one I put here is Concordia from Matt Gertz and Rio Grande
Games on your list.
and PD Verlag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially here, it is a little heavier than Thurns and Taxis. It is or Texas. It has a little bit more nuance to it than the simple rules on it.
Yep.
But it's not that complicated either.
Yep.
We've shown this to G.A.M.E.R Dom. We've shown it to Gamehead Geek. You've shown it to me. We all fell in love with it. Awaken Realms currently, right now, as of recording, is doing a massive reprint of it and a nice version of it, like the Castles of Burgundy that you see over there. Mm-hmm. The Puerto Rico, which is somewhere on my shelf over here somewhere. Can't exactly remember where I put it, but it's up there. But yeah, I love what they've been doing with these classic Euro games, giving them the nice look to them, actually making it more streamlined in.
Yep.
The big important thing for us, more colorblind friendly.
Yep.
And this is the problem with Concordia. It had a little bit of colorblind issues, but the choices in this game is just fantastic. You're playing cards out. You're doing what that card says until you have no more cards in your hand. Then you got to play the other card in your hand to pick up all your cards. And you're getting resources. You're using those resources to spread out on the different maps that you can play in the expansions and stuff like that. Where you're trying to get different sections of the map, or where you can build over land, or you're building over through your boats. And so I like that aspect. You're trying to put more people out there to spread more over the lands. I mean, I tried my best to do something I've never done in Concordia the last time we played it, where I just tried to do the brick slumlord, and I took all the cheapest brick buildings and made them mine, and I was making good resources out of it, and I think I got second place out of it.
Yeah.
So it was a fantastic, there was a lot of smart choices. You were doing one different thing, Gamehead Geek was doing a different thing when we last played it, and I was doing my slumlord thing. and it all kept us within like 9 or 10 points of each other. It's fantastic. That little decisions like I hope they don't play that card because I really want to get all that gold. And the turn before you, someone impacts that by playing the card, flipping all those golds over into resources. I'm like, oh, I wanted that money. You so and so.
You dirty so and so.
But yeah, it's a fantastic route building game. I love the end game scorings on this one. It's like, oh, I didn't score anything in Jupiter, but man, when Mars comes up, I'm really gonna take care of that. So I like everything about it. I really want to dig into more of those expansions. I have a couple expansions in my version of it. But they just announced a new expansion from Concordia, Mare Nostrum or something like that, which is like a new map. Looks really cool. It is going to be part of the Awakened Realms system of it too. So looking forward to playing more Awakened Realms or more Concordia as we go. But yeah, my meaningful choice, Concordia. You cannot have this on the list.
I don't have it on the list. I'll be honest with you. Concordia is not on my list.
Because you knew I was going to talk about it.
No, because I don't consider it a route building as much as it's like heavy, just a card-driven game. There is route building. There's area control. I get it. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying like it.
Thurn and Taxis is a heavy card-driven game.
Yes. No, it's not heavy. No, it's just my meaningful choice is way more like same DNA as Thurn and Taxis. Like yours has more meaningful choice. I give it. Like I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
Yeah, you are.
Mine is specifically a race to get to different regions on the map. And it is a card-driven game where you have to play cards similar in that aspect where you're trying to get to different regions, except instead of the regions being where you're going to, it's the path that you have to get there. This is Elfinland by Alan Moon.
Oh, I knew this was going to be on your list. When I saw people recommending it.
Because it makes sense, right?
It does.
It really does. Like, instead of, like, me trying to get from this part to this part, I'm going, okay, how do I get from this city? I need to take either a boar or a dragon. That's the only way I can get from this city to this adjacent one. So when you finally have this route that you can use different types of transportation from one spot to another, that's your race to try and get to all of these fundamental cities. The first one to gather a certain number of them wins the game. And so, in case you're wondering, in case that sounds somewhat familiar, is because a few years after this was made, which, by the way, this is a Spiel winner as well, Alan Moon created another very well-known Spiel winner, Ticket to Ride. And this has some of the same lifeblood as Ticket to Ride, except it's a little more complicated, and that's why I thought it fit more with Thurn and Taxis than Ticket to Ride does. Mm-hmm. So, Elfinland, that's my meaningful choice. I know, I'm picking all the ones you hate. Don't worry. The next one you like. I know you like this next one. I'm pretty sure you like this next one.
Do you?
I am pretty sure. Which I'm going to be starting us off. This is for ease of play. I wanted a Thurn and Taxis light. And the big thing about this game isn't the map. It isn't about getting your cities out. It isn't about those things. It's about putting cards in order to press your luck. What do you think it is?
It's 10 days.
Nope, it's not.
Oh.
No, very not.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not 10 days. In fact, I didn't even put 10 days on my list. Spoilers again. No, this one, it's just a card game where they have numbers that you're trying to get either higher or lower in your rows of cards.
Oh, it's Ohanami.
It is Ohanami. That's right. I thought this made a lot of sense because you're really you're trying to get the best thing for when you need it, and you're drafting from this pool, and you're trying to put them either above or below one of your three piles, and they have to go either ascending or descending order. You don't have a choice to slot it in the middle, and the more points you score for each of those rows, the better. It's a really cozy, little comfortable game, and I feel like it brings out that way. It could almost be Thurn and Taxis the card game in a way, right? It does feel comfortable enough, but Ohanami, yeah, that had to be my pick.
All right, so for my ease of play, when we're talking about ease of play, simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism, because he forgets how to do this when it's his turn. Likelihood to get to the table, i.e. the mechanism or the theme. And it's easy to learn, understand, or teach. And this is where I zoned in on ease of play, is to learn, understand, and teach. And this game is one of the easiest games to play. It's actually one of your favorite games. And in fact, it was your father's favorite game to play with you. I picked personally, that's why I laughed, because I thought we picked the same game for ease of play.
Oh, gotcha.
10 Days in the
10
USA.
Days in the USA, yeah.
Because of that. It's basically Racco.
Also Alan R. Moon and Aaron Weisselblum.
Yeah, it's Alan R. Moon. The Op currently has the best version right now, because that is a gorgeous looking game.
Yep.
They also have 10 Days in the national parks, which I want to try. It looks really nice. But yeah, the way this one works, it is a path building game. You're just trying to build the best vacation path from this section on day 1 to day 10.
Mm-hmm.
And you're either using airplanes to help you do the travel, you're trying to use an RV to help you do the travel, but you're just trying to pull a card, play a card in your rack. Once you hit the 10 days, you put it out on the
Geographic
table.
Racco.
Yeah, it's Geographical Rapco. It is such a fantastic game. It is such a simple game. It does the route building perfectly well, but I can play this with a younger audience. I can play this with an older audience. It actually makes sense to play this with a younger audience if you're trying to teach them geography in the U.S. and stuff like that. Okay, this state is next to this state, so you have to play this card and this card if you want to go from California to Nevada, because you want a California card and a Nevada card. But if you don't want to go to Nevada, you need to either play an airplane and go to that color, or you need to play an RV to go past that state to go to another state. And it's such a simple, beautiful, gorgeous design. It is probably one of the simplest games I'm ever going to recommend on any of these lists.
Yep.
And it plays so well. If you're very familiar with the classic game Racco, or just like Ticket to Ride and stuff like that, and just trying to put cards in a row, this is an easy one for it to recommend. That's why I was laughing, because I'm like, I thought you would have put this on your list. Yep. It's also, like, if you find older versions of the game, there's like 10 days in Europe, there's 10 days in Japan, there's
10 days in Africa.
10 days in Africa. So if you can find some of those versions, have at it.
Get that back to the table again.
Yeah, I have it. I just put it up on my shelf over here somewhere. Yeah. Because I just ended up picking it up 10 days in the USA. We just recently played it about a year ago when Gamehead Geek brought it to the table, because he's like, hey, you guys know how to play this game, and you were like, yeah, let's play it. Yeah, we enjoy that.
I like how you could potentially win during setup.
Yeah.
I love that.
It is hilarious. And then you're like, okay, let's play it again.
I've never seen it happen, but it is
possible.
Awesome.
You could get the 10 cards in your thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic game. 10 days in the USA.
Cool. And finally, replay value.
This one was the trickiest one for me.
Same.
Because
actually,
there is 2 full expansions in Thurn and Taxis. So I was like, okay, I need to try to get something with an expansions, because when we're doing replay value, it's the length of time and scaling well. So does the 2-player game and the 4-player game play roughly in about the same amount of time? It doesn't add too much time to it. The minimum number of plays for the full experience, and the expandability, which are the expansions I was talking about. The minimum number of plays for the full experience, you play this once, you pretty much know how to play turns and taxes. Nothing's really going to change too much other than what cards flip up. But you have the Ticket to Ride capability of drawing off the top of the deck. Yep. So it is not too much on there. So the game I picked is a relatively newer game. I used to own it. I don't see a reason to keep it in my collection because, again, limited space, but I do enjoy playing it. And if Dammit Dom wants to bring it back to the table, because I believe he still owns this one, I'd be happy to it. But there is 2 full expansions with some promo stuff with this game. It is route building in a sense, but it has a very unique card mechanism where it gives you a reverse pyramid for your resources. And this is in the Hall of the Mountain King from G.A.M.E.R and Graham Johns in Burnt Island Games. Yeah, it is route building. Yeah, you're building from this section. You're trying to dig out the tunnels to find as much treasures as you can, getting different idols out there and putting those idols in your stuff out there. The bigger the rooms, you're building out your puzzle pieces here. You're turning in these resources to dig out this area. It's a little more complicated than Turns and Taxes, but not a lot of games are as simple as Turns and Taxes is either. But it does give you all that. There are 2 full expansions, including one that makes it a co-op game. Not that Turns and Taxes need a co-op game, but there's an option out there that gives you that co-op capability. Bunch of promos. There is actually a sequel to it, The Fall of the Mountain King, where it is actually the fall of that thing before you're going into it, trying to dig it out and get those rewards and stuff like that. Your different troll groups. It has beautiful card play where you're trying to play these cards in this reverse pyramid to trigger them in different ways. The first person to trigger the full scale of that pyramid will end up triggering the end game, just like when someone hits the 7 card or the 7 routes will end up triggering the end game. And you're just trying to get your statues or different stuff in there. Building wise, you're trying to upgrade your stuff to get it much better. It has some really neat plot twists and stuff like that. It just a fantastic art style too. I really do enjoy this one. But like I said, this is one of the hardest ones to put on this list because it's just the replay value. There's not a lot of games that have the same amount or roughly close to the expansions that Thurn and Taxis does that play in the same amount of time for player reference and stuff like that. So the 2-player game and the 4-player game of In the Hall of the Mountain King is not going to be that much different than the 2-player game and the 4-player game of Thurn and Taxis. That game will be a little quicker, but there's no difference into the player counts as much. In the minimum number of plays for the full experience, the only difference is the cards that are going to come up. That is really the main thing, and what magic spells you're going to be getting in there. Other than that, there's not going to be too much turn difference. So for me, In the Hall of the Mountain King from Burnt Island Games, G.A.M.E.R and Graham Johns.
Cool. And my last one for replay value is a game that just recently got reprinted, I want to say 2 years ago, from All Play. This is the classic game, Through the Desert, from Reiner Knizia. Yeah, I mean, it's true and true. This is route building. Because you're building.
I would have put this on my list, but I haven't played it.
I know. I think, and it has that same level of simplicity, which is good for it. In this one, all you do is just put down 2 camels. That's literally it.
Yep.
That's the whole game. And you're trying to get, surrounding. You're trying to gain controls over different routes. You're trying to get the different, watering holes or the palm trees and stuff, and they get points in different ways. It's a really clever little game. It works incredibly simple, and it feels like that same level of cozy. And there's not much expandability on it because you don't need it. There's 2 sides of the board. There's a few other different little things, but again, it's one of those things where it has the same feels. It scales well. It plays almost the same number of players, and it just feels like in the same world. So, Through the Desert, that's my recommendation.
All right, before we go to our outro, I have 2 honorable mentions that I could have put in this list, but if I wanted to shoehorn them in different things. One of them would fit, I just didn't know where to put it, and 10 Days of the USA just seems like a much simpler game to put in here. Mm-hmm. The first one is the G.A.M.E.R Spiel nominee, Loot, which has that interesting route building.
Sure.
Kind of like Through the Desert, where you're trying to build off different routes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that one. I almost thought about putting Switching Tracks from Watzel Pope.
Yeah, I thought you were going to put that on there too.
Yeah, that originally was going to be under Art and Production. In fact, you could see it right there, scratched out. No, I found Power Grid. Never mind. What am I doing?
And then the other one where I said was they had the route building, but it wasn't a main focus of the game, was Windmill Valley. That was the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those were the 2 that other than Ticket to Ride.
Sure.
But those were the 2 that I thought that could have gotten this list, but the ones that I thought made more sense.
And again, if you like Ticket to Ride, that's just an overall recommendation. It's about as close as it gets. But these other 10, hopefully you'll find something you like out of those.
Yeah, and this was actually a fun list to create because it was a little tough to do it.
You know what this did? Makes me want to play it again. Honestly, I kind of want to bring it. I do have an expansion. I own an expansion for this game.
I'm always down to play it if you want to bring it. It's almost your pick. I think it's Damn It Doms this week.
Speaking of expansions, I got to tell you a story here in a bit, but I'll do that after the episode. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to email us, you can email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com. You can tell how old that is. Well, that's the email in for future contests, give us ideas for future episodes, or just reach out and say hello. Also, we have an Instagram, instagram.com/everydayboardgames. You can see the games that Daniel and I have been playing recently, and actually just recently, the games that I played without you here. Yeah, some of your Shelf of Shame games were pretty fun. No, I'm just kidding.
As long as they get played, I don't care.
Yeah, right. That still counts. Gets it off the shelf. No, and then also we have a Discord. Link is in the description of however you're listening to this.
All video re-uploads and reviews are found under youtube.com/@everydayboardgames. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on the platform. Subscribe if you're not, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject.
We also stream our episodes live at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. And you can join in, if anybody joined in today on their chat. It was kind of quiet today, but that's okay. It was a shorter episode. We normally get... During our shorter episodes, it's normally quieter. We normally get more people at the end of the episode.
Mind you, we've also been... we missed a week, so...
Yep, so we got that slow build, yeah. Anyway, join us here. Follow us there, so that way you know when we join live, and join in on the chat while we're talking.
And all audio versions can be found under most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Apple. And by the way, we want to thank you to all our new listeners that we just checked in on. So thank you for listening to us and giving us a chance.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. And hopefully we keep pushing out the content that you like. So as always, we want to thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.